Hey, how y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? It's your brother Bolo VNR. We're on a 2.0 platform, but make sure that you follow me on all platforms, Bolo VNR, Bolo VNR Clips, and Bolo TBV. You are most welcome to do so, ladies and gentlemen. I highly recommend it. However, I also recommend that you hit that like button as you come through the door. What you waiting on? Hit the like button, man. Anyway, in this one, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue the episodes of Craig Beresford's affidavit, with the help of Dr. Kamala, aka Right Mango on TikTok. So make sure y'all go ahead and go check her out, ladies and gentlemen, on TikTok. All right. Yes, she is doing a phenomenal job in educating myself, and you, the audience, about political history. And in this case, the affidavit is something that is currently happening, in court, where the Prime Minister has sued the Integrity Commission. We're not going to get into how embarrassing this is, but hey, I'm just saying.
Embarrassing! We need some milk!
Anyway, let's get into this one, ladies and gentlemen. We got part 9, 10, and 11 on this one, so we got to get into it. No time to waste.
So now we're going into part 9 of the Craig Beresford affidavit. And for those of you who clueless, because some of them might see this video pop up on the FYP first, just click below on the playlist and start from video 1 and just take in all of the affidavit from Mr. Beresford, who is the Director of Information and Complaints at the Integrity Commission. For those of you who are totally lost, Andrew Holness tried to have this affidavit removed from record, and Justice Althea Jarrett struck down his motion. All right, so now we're at the findings. Profile: Mr. Andrew Holness became Member of Parliament for West Central St. Andrew in 1997. He served as opposition spokesperson on land and development from 1999 to 2002. During the period 2002 to 2005, he served as opposition spokesperson on housing and education. Mr. Holness was sworn in as Minister of Education in September 2007. He succeeded Mr. Bruce Golding as Prime Minister in October 2010. He lost the election in December of that same year. Mr. Holness was elected. This was 2011. Them have an error. He lost the election in December of that same year. Mr. Holness was elected Prime Minister during the election held on February 25th, 2016, and subsequently September 3rd, 2020. Mr. Holness is currently the Prime Minister of Jamaica. The declarant is married to Juliet Amory Holness, Member of Parliament for East Rural St. Andrew, and they are parents to 2 sons, Adam Holness, born October 1, 2002, and Andrew Holness, born November 3, 2004. Mr. Holness' net worth, based on the declarant's statutory declarations, was computed as $350,473.50 on initial declarations submitted the 30th of June 1998. Listen to this carefully. When he submitted his declarations on the 30th of June 1998, his net worth, based on their computations, was $350,473.56, and $159 million, $159.9 million as at the 31st of December 2019. So in 20 years, his net worth moved from $350,000 to $159 million. Total gross emoluments reported by Mr. Holness were $473 $1,191 as at the 30th of June 1998, and $18 million as at the 31st of December 2019. So even though his salary was never more than him net worth, basically his emoluments were the money him get, the money where him earn were no more than $18 million as at December 2019. His net worth is $159.9 million. There is a table. I'm going to post it. I think I'm going to attach it at the top of this video, and you can pause and read as you need. The net worth computation based on statutory declaration. Right? It goes from the 30th of June 1998 all the way to the 31st of December 2019. My apologies. All right, so I'm going to put it up so you can see it. The following adjustments were made in arriving at the declarant's net worth. Investment in stocks, bonds, and shares included amounts invested in OLINT during 2005, 2006, and 2007. Income comprised of the declarant's salary and allowances, capital gains on sale of assets. Reimbursables were deducted from the income reported as statutory declarations. Net asset values of ADMAT Incorporated were reported on the various assets headings on the statutory declaration. These amounts were shown on the multi-year net worth statements prepared by the financial analysts as investment in business ventures and represented the assets held by ADMAT Incorporated less associated liabilities. Director's current account was omitted from the calculation. Mrs. Holness' income was not included in the statutory declarations presented to the Commission for the period 1998 to 2008. Her parliamentary income of $5,140,000 was reported as statutory declaration at the 31st of December 2019. Declarant stated that Mrs. Holness' income was not used in his affairs or calculated in his net worth. Net worth computation was based on assets and liabilities, included those held by ADMAT Incorporated, reported at December 31st on statutory declarations. 2006 to 2009, net worth increased by approximately $76,506,373.94. This is between 2006 and 2009. Increase in 2006 resulted from investment in OLINT of approximately $23,743,858, which is US $354,000. There was no evidence of the source of funds used for this investment. So nobody knows where the money that he put in OLINT come from. It just magically appeared out of thin air. An additional $7.96 million, which is US $113,000, was invested in OLINT during 2007. There were two encashments totaling $10.3 million, which is US $150,000 during 2007. The declarant's net worth increased by $23,713,317.92 in 2007. The acquisition of assets held by ADMAT Incorporated contributed significantly to the increase in net worth of $23,963,052.74 in 2008. 2012 and 2016, net worth increased by $13,461,440.59 during 2012, and there was another splice in 2016 when the net worth increased by $13,463,882.65. 2016 to 2019, net worth increased by $48,489,435.39 during this period. There is another table. Declarant's net worth grew exponentially during the period. And the table shows the growth in his. It shows 2006, the growth in net worth, 22,829,993. 2007, 23,713,317. 2008, so in between 2006 and 2009, his net worth was growing by basically $23 million a year. Right? But his net worth, I mean, when you look at these jumps, it's ridiculous. Right? They're showing tables, pages and pages of tables. All right? So I'm going to leave part 9. Let me just read this last part. There were significant variances between the amounts reported to the Commission on statutory declarations for various years during the review period and assets and liabilities stated on the financial statements of ADMAT Incorporated for corresponding periods. Variances were most significant during 2013 to 2015. So that is the end of part 9. Stay tuned for part 10. Because we're going through this, we are going through it. Dear Jamaicans, I'm finally able to get into part 10 of the Craig Beresford affidavit. I promised you that I'm going to see this through and complete it. It's very long, and I'm only at about page 40. For those of you who don't know who Craig Beresford is, he is the Director of Information and Complaints at the Integrity Commission, and his affidavit is that which Andrew Holness tried to have suppressed. He did not want this public. He went to the court, asked the court to suppress the affidavit, and Justice Arthur Jarrett of the Supreme Court said no. Senate go a road, and the affidavit their road. We can understand why Andrew Holness wanted this suppressed, because it is very damning. And click if you want to see the rest, because this is part 10. Just click on the playlist below, start from part 1, and get yourself abreast with exactly what it is that Craig Beresford had to say. I promise you, it's very chilling. Before I go any further, I must say that everything I discuss in this video and the previous videos, part of the series on the Integrity Commission's affidavit that Andrew Holness tried to hide, everything that I've discussed is based on what is in this affidavit that Justice Jarrett allowed to be in the public domain. Any conclusions that I may infer comes out of this affidavit, right? So the views expressed are not necessarily mine. We just want to put that disclaimer out there, because when we read the things them, I want to know, say, is the affidavit it coming from, all right? So, yes, no. We had looked in part 9 at the table on how Andrew Holness's net worth increased exponentially over a 10-year period, all right? So continuing, there were significant variances between the amounts reported to the Commission. All right, we'll read that already. Variance resulted from outstanding payables on development of Shenstone property that were not captured on financial statements, as well as directors' current account that was omitted from the statutory declarations. Amounts under this heading were treated by the financial analysts as balancing figures on the balance sheet, for which there were no evidence of loans being received from or offered to the company during the relevant period. Mr. Holness's net worth included assets held by the spouse to the extent of Mrs. Holness' investment in property at 9 Mona Great House Boulevard, and a joint account maintained by the Bank of Nova Scotia, which showed negligible balances during the review period. The company business ventures were not reported in box number 5 of statutory declarations received by the Commission for the period ended the 31st of December 2019. ADMAT Incorporated was stated in Box 9 of the statutory declarations as owner of properties, as well as in Box 3 as investor in stocks and bonds and shares. ADMAT Incorporated Limited. ADMAT Incorporated was registered in St. Lucia on February 14, 2008. At the 31st of December 2008, the declarant included on statutory declaration assets held by this company of 44.6 million, financial investments 13.3 million, and property 31.27 million. Assets being held by this company increased to $131,187,975 as at the 31st of December 2019. It should be noted that ADMAT Incorporated Limited fits the definition of a shell company that was set up with the sole purpose of asset protection, acting as a trustee for its shareholder. The company does not engage in any notable income-generating commercial activities, is not financed by loans from the financial sector or otherwise, and has no employees or physical location. Purchase prices and values of assets held by ADMAT Incorporated were not substantiated by documentary evidence of source of funds presented to the Commission. There is another table, and this table goes from 2008 to 2019, and it shows the total assets of ADMAT, where it started out at 44.6 million in 2008 and ended up at 131,187,975 by 2019. So that was ADMAT. The acquisition of assets by ADMAT Incorporated was not supported by the revenues generated by the company. You hear this though? So them basically saying, listen, we don't know where this money in ADMAT come from, but the money just pop up because it is not supported by revenue generated. The company is a shell company. They already said that. This is evident by the asset turnover ratio for each year of the period 2010 to 2019. So in 2010, why may I forgot put up this table? It no look good though. The company acquired properties with accumulated purchase price of $31,275,000 and $111,964,353 as at the 31st of December 2008 and the 31st of December 2019, respectively. However, rental income supported by the company ranged between $601,200 and $1.375 million annually in connection to one property, 4 Arcadia Drive, St. Andrew. This property was acquired on the 15th of September 2008. Same year ADMAT was incorporated and sold during 2016. Total income reported by the declarant on statutory declarations, as well as income seen on the income statements, comprised of rental income and income from financial investments. The highest total revenue was reported as $5.5 million as at 31st of December 2019. Investment in property located at Shenstone Drive, Mr. Honus' dwelling house, accounted for $25,725,000 or 45% of the total investment in property at the 31st of December 2011. $93,688,353 or 84% of the total investment in property at the 31st of December 2019. This asset, Shenstone Drive, does not generate income for the company. So basically, this company invests in assets that does not generate income for them. That's what they're saying. It's a shell company. Transactions that were reported to have been conducted to facilitate constructions on this property were commingled with those of JAJ Construction and Development Limited, which is Juliet Owners Company. Invoices, receipts, and statements of accounting totaling $28,843,826.82 were submitted to the Commission to support construction work undertaken on this property. In excess of $13,119,206, or 55% of this amount, was made out to JAJ Developments as the customer, 1.974 million or 8% to Juliet Holness. The remaining transaction totaling $8,750,539 or 13% was undertaken under the name of Andrew Holness. Total invoices represented 35% of the total development cost of $67.9 million in 2019. A copy of an ARC manufacturing receipt dated the 27th of December 2019 was submitted to the Commission as proof of payment for construction material totaling $18,030,000 purchased by JAJ Land and Development. Andrew Holness was stated as the payoff on this document, along with notation that payment should be credited to the account of JAJ Land and Development. None of the documents submitted to the Commission in support of construction work done on the property at Shenstone Drive had ADMAT Incorporated stated as the customer. So that is part 10. Stay tuned. I'm going to go straight into part 11. I hope this intrigues you as much as it intrigues me. Affidavit. Of course, you can review. All right. Hi again, Jamaicans. We're going into part 11 of the Craig Beresford Affidavit. Of course, you can review parts 1 to 10 in the playlist below, so you can keep yourself abreast. For those of you who are wondering what I'm talking about, the Craig Beresford is the Director of Information and Complaints at the Integrity Commission, and this is his affidavit that Andrew Holness tried to have suppressed. The views expressed by me is directly related to the affidavit, which I am reading directly from. All the information I'm presenting to you is coming from the affidavit that I'm reading from, which was made public by Justice Althea Jarrett in her ruling on Thursday, July 31st. She free up the affidavit and we'll go through it because, of course, it is damning. So here we go. Documents presented by Mr. Holness does not support cost of the property at Shenstone Drive, the source of funds invested or total value of the property. All right, me could go up a little more. A copy of, me could go up a little higher. Let me just recap a little because I don't want to confuse you know. We're talking about the construction of a mansion Upper Beverly Hills, right? So, a copy of the ARC manufacturing receipt, and for those of you who don't know, ARC is where you buy the construction material, steel, and then something there, yeah, was submitted to the Commission as proof of payment for construction material totaling $18,030,000 purchased by JAJ Land and Development, which is Juliet Holness' company. Andrew Holness was stated as the payer on this document, along with notation that payment should be credited to the account of JAJ Land and Development. None of the documents submitted to the Commission in support of construction work done on the property at Shenstone Drive had ADMAT Incorporated Limited stated as the customer. So, they make a mistake right there. So, can remember, you know, so the man say it's ADMAT House, but it's Andrew Holness' name on the receipt, on the bill. All right. Documents presented by Mr. Holness does not support the construction cost of the property at Shenstone Drive, the sources of funds invested or total value of the property, including cost of acquisition of land and subsequent construction. It is therefore necessary that a valuation be conducted by an independent certified quantity surveyor and valuator. Significant investments were held by ADMAT in two financial institutions, Stocks and Securities Limited and Jamaica Money Market Brokers Limited, with no clear source of funding. Where the money come from, we don't know. All right, so there's a table here now showing the year and the investment in each. So in 2008, which is the initial sum invested, there was 100 US. No, we're talking in US, right? We're not talking we're not talking in Jamaican dollars. So 108,125 US dollars invested in stocks and securities. And listen now, remember stocks and securities, SSL. So this is SSL. It's your SSL tie-in now. Then GMMB, 56,000 US dollars. Total US dollar in fixed investment, $164,190. In 2009, in SSL, 293,273 US dollars. In GMMB, 101,569 US dollars. Total fixed investment US that year, this is 2009, 394,843 US dollars. 2010, in the SSL account, $342,153. In the GMMB account, $94,133. Total, $436,286. In 2019, which is the final declaration, so it jumped from 2010 to 2019. In SSL, 136,177, and in GMMB, 7,347. So it dropped down to 143,524. All right, and it break it down. There's a table there. All right. So we're going to talk about Canadian now. And this is a company where we just hear about. This company was incorporated in the British Virgin Islands during 2008. So have another shell company. Mr. Holness declared that he was one of 3 shareholders with equal shareholdings. The other 2 shareholders were Paul East and Ian Moore. Canadian Investments Limited, according to Mr. Holness, was formed to simplify the process of acquiring and registering a 2003 36 feet Lures Open Sport Express leisure boat. So Canadian was formed to buy him a boat. Okay. And that was bought in the BVI, and that his investment in this company was equal to US 80,000, which was 1/3 of the total cost of $240,000 in the ledger vessel. It was stated in financial report as at March 31st, 2016, prepared by Mr. Ewart Gilzine, chartered accountant, that Canadian Investments Limited has not traded since its incorporation on April 21, 2008. It's another shell company. Does not have a bank account. Has no records of any commercial activity since inception, with the exception of the fixed assets, which is the leisure boat. So they made this company just to buy a damn boat. Maintained reasonable financial records and owned fixed assets totaling $17,332,400, which is the cost of the leisure boat vessel. The declarant failed to provide financial statements for the periods 2010, 2011, 2012 requested by the then chairman of the Legacy Integrity Commission, Justice Paul Harrison, by way of letter dated the 28th of September 2013. The declarant also failed to provide documentary evidence to show that he is no longer a director, shareholder, or beneficial owner of this company. It is unclear whether assets were held by this company locally or overseas, for which Mr. Holness would be the beneficial owner. Searches conducted at the National Land Agency, Companies Office of Jamaica, and Tax Administration Jamaica did not reveal any assets held by this company. Undeclared business ventures. Explanations preferred by Mr. Holness in relation to significant cash inflows from business ventures undertaken prior to 2006 were not supported by independent documentary evidence. Mr. Holness declared in Financial Journal submitted to the Commission that he operated the following companies at various times during the review period. Sunshine Mobile Company Limited, became a director and took over management January 2001. Company was closed in October 2005, and this was in the Financial Journal. The Leader Taxi Service was in operation prior to 1998 and was wound up in 2005. Mr. Holness stated in his financial journal submitted to the Commission that Mrs. Juliet Holness was added as a director during 2007. Why did Mr. Holness find it prudent to add his wife as a director if the company was dormant? I didn't ask this question. The question is right there in bold. That's the question in bold. Why did Mr. Holness find it prudent to add his wife as director if the company was dormant? That is what the Integrity Commission is asking. Omega Bridge Finance Limited operated during the period 1998 to 2006. Although stating that he had as many as 8 motor vehicles operating in Sunshine Mobile Company and 7 to 14 cars and 2 buses in the Leader Taxi Services, the declarant failed to provide sufficient documentary evidence to support the operations of these companies to the extent that the aforementioned assets were actually held by the company, as well as income specified were earned. Documents were provided in relation to 4 motor vehicles. Route transport licenses were seen for 3 of these motor vehicles. Documents presented to support trading activities and financial transactions carried out by these entities were scanty and did not provide a complete picture of the financial position of these companies at any time during the period of operation. And so ended part 11. You see, so it get really interesting now. Them on to him long time, you know. Them on to Andrew long time. Me say, time come. Stay tuned for part 12.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 4. I think it's episode 4. I lost track, but man, listen. I ain't got much to say. I'm just gonna leave the evidence of what it is she highlights. I think we should have a great conversation in the comment section. All right, remember to follow me on all platforms. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment, share, and yeah, y'all have a wonderful one. You know what I'm saying? Blessings. It's your boy Bolo, and I'm out. Peace.